All right, are you ready to paint? Let's paint this landscape today. To do this, first divide the paper into three parts. Two-thirds will be sky and one-third will be water. So I am applying a washi tape to divide my paper. Let's look at the colors that we need. That's turquoise blue that we will mix, ultramarine blue, some pink, cadmium yellow, Payne's gray, and violet or purple. All right, so the first thing that we'll do is wet the sky, the top portion of the paper. Make sure it's wet so the watercolors blend, but make sure there are no water puddles. All right, let's mix the turquoise blue first, which is a mixture of blue and green, more blue and less green. Looks like that's a little more green, so add a little bit of blue. Okay, that is good enough. Just to make sure, let's wet the paper to the top portion once again so you have enough water. The paper is wet. Now let's start painting. The first thing we'll do is apply ultramarine blue. Leave the bottom portion near the horizon white so you can paint yellow and pink. That's pink. Wash your brush and paint cadmium yellow. Now you will get a beautiful orange. The pink adds as a barrier so you don't get green. Okay. I'm trying to make sure that there are no water puddles at the edge. Mix some more turquoise blue. That's a little green, so add a little more blue. That looks good. Add purple at the edges. Looks like we lost a little bit of pink, so let's add the pink back and add a little more yellow. Let's take a paper towel and wipe off the edges so the water is not pooling there. Just adding a little more blue. Make sure the paper is wet, otherwise the colors won't blend very well. Just adding a little more ultramarine blue. Adding a little violet. Now the sky is done, so let's dry it thoroughly. I'm going to mute. When the paper is completely dry, take the tape out. Make sure the paper is completely dry, otherwise the paper will tear. Now let's paint the water portion. For this, I am not going to wet the paper. I'm just going to paint directly. I'll make sure that I have enough paint so the paper stays wet. First, I'm using yellow, cadmium yellow, right under where the yellow is because it's a reflection in water. Turquoise blue right where there's turquoise blue up in the sky. Ultramarine blue. Blend it. You can wash your brush completely and you can blend again if you want. Now I'm adding a little bit of purple. towards the edges and the corners. Again, wash your brush thoroughly and you can blend with a damp brush. Adding a little more ultramarine blue. Okay. Now I'm going to turn the paper upside down because I want to paint the reflection of the trees. And it's easier to paint when you turn it upside down. Make sure the paper is a little wet so the trees are not hard lines. I'm using a small brush. I am just going to draw a face. Taking Payne's Gray. Make sure it's a little watery consistency because we want the trees to fade. We don't want it to look like trees, but just a reflection. All right. And don't make all of the trees the same size. Okay, I am wetting the brush and then I'm just going to make some horizontal lines to indicate branches and leaves of the tree. Again, make sure it's very watery because we don't want the trees to look very distinct because that's just a reflection. Do the same on the other side. Exactly the same process. Again, make sure the trees are all not the same size. I'm going to take a very watery consistency of purple and make a reflection of the mountains. So this is the shadow of the mountains that we will paint. Now turn it back the right side and where you have the trees up on the top, paint those trees. Make sure the size of the trees is proportional to what you painted down here. The procedure is the same except now it's actually going to be darker and clear. You can either use Payne's Gray or black, your choice. Painting of the trees is just the same, like I said. You can add another layer to give some depth. And just do the same on the other side. Just remember, the size up on the top should be proportional to the trees that are at the bottom. And now we'll paint some small mountains. Just draw the outline first and then fill it in.